For many seniors, mobility is the key to staying engaged, social, and independent. But when driving is no longer an option, daily activities that once felt effortless can suddenly feel out of reach. Now, without reliable transportation, medical appointments get missed, friendships fade, and once active seniors start spending most of their time indoors. But it doesn't have to be that way. And when home caregivers provide transportation, they restore freedom, they encourage movement, and open the door to a life full of connection and activity. For Frank, giving up his driver's license meant losing his car and losing control. He had always been one to take care of things, from running errands to picking up friends for lunch. But after a minor accident, his doctor told him that it was time to stop driving. And at first, Frank felt trapped. He hated asking his children for rides and didn't want to feel like a burden. But when his caregiver stepped in, something changed. See, with reliable transportation, Frank got back to doing what he loved, visiting the farmer's market on Saturdays, catching up with friends over coffee, and even making it to his weekly poker nights. So instead of feeling stuck at home, he felt like himself again. You see, mobility affords seniors the flexibility to go where they want to go and to continue to gain new sets of experiences. Let's take a look at Margaret. She prided herself in her independence as well. She always managed her household effortlessly until suddenly the simple task of grocery shopping became just overwhelming. And navigating the aisles left her exhausted. Heavy bags strained her arms, and managing her banking and pharmacy visits in the same trip felt absolutely impossible. So she found herself putting things off, skipping errands, and relying on canned soup instead of fresh meals. So with home care, those everyday errands became easy again. You see, her caregiver helped carry groceries, organized shopping lists, and even made sure she was picking up healthy options. So Margaret no longer had to worry about juggling too much. She had the support she needed while still making all her own choices. See, movement is independence. And so for Walter, slowing down wasn't an option. He had 85 years of being active, taking morning walks, stretching in the backyard, and even dancing at his granddaughter's wedding. But after a knee injury, he became hesitant. The fear of falling kept him from moving, and before long, he spent most of his days sitting in his recliner. You see, his caregiver knew that as an 85-year-old, staying active helped Walter sustain in his confidence. You see, together that he and his caregiver started taking small steps, gentle stretches, short walks outside, and simple movement-based activities, which helped Walter regain his strength. With the support and the encouragement of his caregiver, he found his rhythm again. See, by staying active, Walter was able to improve his physical health and also maintain his independence. So let's talk about Gloria. She used to be the life of the party. She loved meeting friends for lunch and attending community events and hosting Sunday dinners. But after her husband passed away, driving became quite difficult for her, and the invitations stopped coming, and she wasn't sure if people forgot about her or if she had just started fading into the background. You see, her caregiver was able to step in and help her reconnect. With safe transportation and a little encouragement, Gloria started attending her weekly book club again. She made it to church on Sundays, she joined a local art class, and even reconnected with old friends she hadn't seen in months. She was living again. She wasn't just existing. You see, for seniors, many people make the mistake by thinking staying social is a luxury, but no, it's a necessity. See, isolation leads to depression, cognitive decline, and an overall decrease in health. And so home care makes sure seniors stay engaged, involved, and connected to the world around them. For many seniors, needing help with personal care is one of the hardest transitions to accept. The ability to bathe, dress, and groom oneself is more than just a routine. It's deeply tied to one's identity, self-respect, and control. The fear of becoming dependent can lead seniors to refuse help, avoid conversations, or even put themselves at risk. However, with the right approach, personal care does not have to feel like a loss of independence. Instead, it can be a partnership that preserves dignity while ensuring comfort and well-being. So Eleanor had always taken pride in her appearance. She never left home without neatly styled hair and a touch of blush on her cheeks. But after her injury, simple tasks like washing her hair and getting dressed became overwhelming. At first, she resisted help. The thought of someone assisting her with personal care really felt humiliating for her. But she insisted she could manage until one morning she nearly slipped in the shower. Her caregiver understood the sensitivity of the situation and approached it with quiet respect. Instead of taking over, she worked alongside Eleanor. She set out her favorite robe, adjusting the water to just the right temperature, and stepped away when she could manage on her own. With a little encouragement, Eleanor regained confidence in her routine. She never felt like she had lost control. For Robert, accepting help felt like surrendering. A former Navy officer, he had always prided himself on self-reliance, but arthritis made buttoning his shirt difficult and shaving was nearly impossible without nicking his skin. His caregiver did not rush in to do everything for him. Instead, she found ways for him to do as much for himself as possible. So what she did is she brought in adaptive tools such as a button hook for his shirt and an electric razor that was easier to hold. She laid out his clothes for him and let him take the lead, only stepping in when she was truly needed. So by preserving his independence, Robert never felt like he was being cared for. He felt like he was being supported. For Margaret, personal care was not just about the tasks, it was about having a say in how those tasks were done. She had always been fiercely independent, and her daughter first suggested home care. She actually hesitated. And so her biggest fear was not receiving help, it was losing control over her choices. You see, so what happened is her caregiver made sure that that never happened. Each morning, Margaret decided what she wanted to wear. She set the pace for the routine and determined how much assistance she needed that day. If she wanted privacy, the caregiver stood close by, available but not obtrusive. So because Margaret remained in charge, she never felt like care was something being forced upon her. She saw her caregiver simply as a partner who respected her choices and allowed her to remain in control. For James, he always was a private person, and the idea of receiving help with something as personal as bathing made him deeply uncomfortable, as I'm sure you could imagine. His son worried because James had begun skipping showers. So James said he was fine, but his hygiene was starting to suffer and it became noticeable. So his caregiver knew that trust had to come first. So what she did is she took the time to get to know James, learning about his interests, what his routines were, what his preferences were, and when it came time to assist, she prioritized his comfort. She kept the bathroom warm, ensured towels were within reach, and always explained each step before moving forward. So what happened is, over time, James let go of his anxiety. What once felt like an invasion of privacy now felt like a simple, respectful routine. So for many seniors, the care itself is not the hardest part. The fear of losing dignity is what weighs on them the most. When caregivers create a safe and respectful environment, the fear fades and it is replaced by trust, comfort, and confidence. For many seniors, loneliness is more than just a passing feeling. It can be a serious health risk. In fact, loneliness is as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Let me say that again. Loneliness is as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes in a day. So, understanding this, studies actually show that isolation increases the risk of dementia, heart disease, and depression. However, the right support can keep seniors connected, engaged, and thriving. So when families get busy and social circles start to shrink, home care provides a vital bridge, companionship, and community. A little interaction each day can bring joy and spark memories and restore a sense of belonging. So let's talk about William. He always had been a storyteller. He could spend hours reminiscing about his days as a firefighter, telling tales of heroism and camaraderie. But as the years passed, he had fewer people to share his stories with. His friends had either moved away or passed on or passed away, and a long afternoon stretched into silence. So when his caregiver started visiting, everything changed. She asked about his life, she listened intently, and even encouraged him to record some of his favorite memories. Their conversations became the highlight of his day. With a companion to truly listen to him, William felt seen again. You see, daily conversation does more than just pass the time. It keeps the mind sharp. It strengthens emotional well-being and reminds seniors that their stories still matter. Let's talk about Helen. She was a music lover, and music had always been a part of her life. She played the piano as a child and sang in her church choir for decades. But after losing her husband, she just stopped playing. The piano sat untouched, a silent reminder of the past. Her caregiver noticed and gently encouraged her to play again. And at first, Helen resisted, saying it had been too long. But one day, she sat down and placed her hands on the keys. The familiar melody of her favorite hymn filled the room, and for the first time in a long while, she smiled. Music, puzzles, crafts, and other hobbies aren't just pastimes. They are lifelines to joy and creativity, and also cognitive health. So by reintroducing meaningful activities, home care helps seniors stay engaged with the things that once made them feel alive. Well, Arthur had never missed Sunday at church. Rain or shine, he took pride in dressing up and sitting in the same pew every week. But after a minor stroke affected his mobility, attending church services became a challenge. So at first, he told his family not to worry about it, but as the weeks passed, they noticed a change in his spirit. He became quieter, more withdrawn, and uninterested in the things he once loved. His caregiver stepped in, arranging safe transportation and ensuring he had the support he needed to attend services again. The moment he walked through the church doors, his face lit up. Staying connected to one's community isn't just about socializing, it provides a sense of purpose, belonging, and spiritual fulfillment. Whether it's a church gathering, a book club, or a family reunion, seniors deserve to remain part of the world around them. Rose had always been independent. She had raised 5 children, managed a household, and cared for others her entire life. Now living alone, she found it difficult to ask for help, even when she needed it most. Her caregiver understood that trust had to be built slowly. She took the time to get to know Rose's routines, preferences, and even her favorite TV shows. Over time, visits became more than just assistance with daily tasks. They became genuine opportunities for companionship. And you know what? Rose no longer saw her caregiver as just someone providing a service. She saw her caregiver as a friend. You see, emotional well-being is just as important as physical health. Strong relationships help seniors feel valued, respected, and deeply connected to the people that are in their lives. So, what's next? Make social connection a priority. Take a moment to think about how your loved one has meaningful social interactions. Are they engaged in activities that bring them joy? Are they maintaining connections that matter? You see, those things are so important because oftentimes we just think about their emotional well-being, but it's their social well-being that helps correlate with their emotional well-being. So let's always keep that in mind as we think about what's best for our loved ones. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and move on to the next section, which is emotional and psychological benefits of independence. See, seniors do more than just exist when they feel independent. They thrive. The ability to make decisions, engage in meaningful activities, maintain a sense of control is just as important as physical well-being. Losing independence can lead to feelings of hopelessness, but with a little bit of support, seniors can continue to live with confidence and purpose. You see, home care does more than assist with daily tasks. What it does is it provides the encouragement and flexibility seniors need to feel themselves while staying safe and supported. So let's let's talk about George. He had always been active in his community, and he had spent years volunteering at the library and mentoring young professionals. But when mobility issues made it difficult for him to get around, he assumed those days were over. His caregiver encouraged him to continue making a difference. They arranged for him to participate in virtual mentorship programs where he could share his knowledge and experience with young adults entering to the workforce. So George quickly found himself looking forward to each session. His contributions mattered. He felt valued again. His physical limitations no longer defined him because his sense of purpose remained strong. Seniors need more than just care. They need opportunities to stay engaged. They need to be able to share their wisdom and feel like they're making a difference. So, what's next? Give seniors a voice in their care. So independence is really about what seniors can do physically, but that's not it. It's also about how much control they have over their own lives. So what we have to do as their loved ones is involve them in decisions, let them express their preferences, and ensure their care supports their sense of purpose. So I've covered a lot of information, and I hope that one of those scenarios actually rings a bell or it sounds familiar. And so if you're interested in creating a care plan, it's totally free of charge. Feel free to reach out to us at the number below, or you can email us or you can call us, whichever works for you is perfectly fine with us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.